Welcome back to the BJack 70 show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and thank you for being here. It is Super Bowl week. Not a whole lot of news to talk about today. I really, I usually come give you a show on Tuesday morning. So I'm giving you a show on Tuesday morning, but what I really want to do while I'm here before I get started is to let you know to go to the description box below and watch the comprehensive conversation I had with my friend Terrell Chestnut, teammate at West Virginia. We talked about football at all levels, talked about being a D1 athlete, talked about the NFL, talked a little bit about the Super Bowl, talked about Cleveland Browns, talked about just football at large. Like I said, it was a comprehensive conversation. One of the best podcast episodes I feel like I've done, and I want you to go check it out. After you finish this one, you can go ahead, head over to the channel, head to the description, just click that link, I'll put it in there, and watch that video as well. And before you do all that, hit the like button on this one, hit the like button on that one, subscribe to the channel. I'm coming at you fast and furious on this channel. All week is Super Bowl week. We're getting excited. We're putting out content. We're doing the damn thing in 2026. We are, the football season finish line is straight ahead, and we are going to finish through it. So while you're here, go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you for doing so. Now, what are we here to talk about today? Just a quick two topics. I didn't really do a lot of talk about the NFL head coaches at large, mostly just focused down on the Cleveland Browns, which they're local. So you have all my thoughts about Todd Monken and their coaching search and Jimmy Haslam and all of that. But I wanted to wait until all of the head coaching slots were filled and before I talked about it, and they are now. So just to, give I'm gonna rank who I think made the best hires in order. And then I'll give you that information of who they hired if you don't know. So starting in number one, very recently, the Las Vegas Raiders hired Clint Kubiak, who is the offensive coordinator of the NFC champion current Super Bowl team, Seattle Seahawks, propelling them to, an outstanding season. He is now also the Raiders head coach before, finishing his last game this year in the Super Bowl. I love this hire for them. A couple months ago, would I have loved it this much? Probably not. But seeing the way he worked with Sam Darnold, seeing how he worked with the weapons that he had on offense, he was able to get use out of Cooper Kupp, Rashid Shaheed, Kenneth Walker. I think Clint Kubiak will be an excellent teacher and developer of somebody like Fernando Mendoza. Plus, you still got the elite weapon that is Brock Bowers, and we'll see what he's able to get out of Ashton Jeanty, because the offensive line is still going to be a work in progress, even if they do try to improve it this offseason. One offseason probably isn't enough to fix all his problems, but I really like this hire by the Raiders, and I expect them to be much more competitive than they were in 2025. Number two, pains me to say, but the Baltimore Ravens. Jesse Minter, this feels like it was destined to happen. Spiritual successor to John Harbaugh, a Harbaugh guy, been with both Jim and John at different spots, and to shore up this Baltimore Ravens defense, which was inconsistent at different parts of the year. Like the last couple years, they started off rough and then brought it together by the time the end of the season came around. That's really not something you want to do. You really want to be dialed in all season, and I think Jesse Minter is somebody that can do that. How will he be able to lead the whole team? How does he get along with Lamar Jackson remains to be seen. But as far as the X's and O's, and as far as a guy with a resume, a younger guy getting in there and putting his stamp on the culture in Baltimore, I think they got a great hire. Jesse Minter was wanted around the league by multiple teams. The Browns wanted to get an interview with him. Knowing that the Browns didn't go super young offensive mind, I wonder if Jesse Minter did, interview with the Browns, what that could have done. But I think it was a good hire. I think the Raiders were above this, but Ravens got a pretty good one as well. Third, I have the Tennessee Titans, and they hired head coach Robert Saleh, was the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, and this is who I wanted the Cleveland Browns to hire. I love him as a coach. I love his attitude. I think he can be a leader. I think he can get I think he can get the best out of his players and out of his locker room. I think that his first head coaching stop in New York with the Jets was kind of derailed by Zach Wilson, and then it was derailed by Aaron Rodgers showing up and taking over the building. And also, coming from a Browns fan, it is still the Jets as well. So you got Woody Johnson ownership doing the things that he does. So can anybody in recent memory have success with the Jets? Who knows? So I kind of give him a little bit of grace with what he did with the Jets, because we see him in San Francisco, and this past year we saw what he was able to do with the whole unit on the injured list pretty much. And I've paid a lot of attention to Robert Saleh. Like, I watched a lot of the New York Jets productions that they put on their YouTube channel, behind the scenes. We got the Hard Knocks on HBO with them. So we've seen a lot of Robert Saleh behind the scenes, and I think he's a good guy. He's a huge family, has good family man, good family guy, good, just really energetic guy. And I think that type of energy is always positive in the locker room, especially with a guy like him, because I don't think it's fake. You can kind of tell those fake energy rah-rah guys, but you see it in Saleh that is his personality, and that's who he is. And if you can be who you are and be authentic, no matter what the personality type, that's always going to play. Even somebody you may not like if you don't like Kyle Shanahan's attitude, or you don't like how Mike McDaniels is, those kind of guys, they're going to have success, because even though they might not present how you want them to present, they are unapologetically themselves, and that matters. So I really love the Robert Saleh hire. Wanted it to be in Cleveland, but he chose Tennessee. I don't even know if he was ever optioned for the Browns, so it is what it is. Fourth, I have Kevin Stefanski and the Atlanta Falcons. Kevin Stefanski, I think, for everything that happened in Cleveland, is a good coach, is a good head coach. He was young when he took the head coaching job in Cleveland. I think he's going to do nothing but improve upon what he was able to do in Cleveland. Um, I think he will be able to make that offense sing. Where the rumors are Kirk Cousins is going to get cut. Michael Penix is going to be coming off of an ACL injury, so we don't know what he's going to look like heading into week one. So kind of depends on who their quarterback is going to be. But the weapons that they have, he hasn't had weapons like that maybe ever. Like Minnesota, he had when he was in Minnesota, there was Diggs and Adam Thielen, but he's going down to Atlanta to work with Bijan Robinson and Drake London. So tit for tat there. If we'll see if they re-sign Kyle Pitts, who came on finally, showed what he was capable of in 2025. We'll see how it goes with him. But I believe, I've said on record already, I think within 2 years of him being there, they'll win the division. And that's not a high bar to clear because somebody new wins that division pretty much, every year, every couple years. It's not, not very aggressive competition in the NFC South, but nonetheless, still hard to win football games in the NFL. And I think Kevin Stefanski will do an adequate job of that. And I think he'll win the division either 2026 or 2027. Moving on, number 5, the Buffalo Bills promoted their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, to head coach. And the process for the Buffalo Bills should make this lower, but I'm such a fan of Joe Brady as an offensive coach that I have this ranked. I have this ranked fifth. We've been watching Joe Brady since LSU, since he's been at LSU, offensive coordinating that national championship team. He's been a guy that has evolved and been able to produce no matter the situation at hand. And it helps when you're in college and you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and then it helps when you're in the NFL and you're coaching Josh Allen. So definitely that helps. But he's been able to produce a fantastic run game, been able to scheme guys into producing in the pass game when they haven't had a super dominant number one receiver. I bet you better start doing your job, Keon Coleman. But Joe Brady, I had this is in the middle, and I'm not feeling overly confident, but I don't feel bad about it. It's just like it's status quo in Buffalo, really, just with a different face. We'll see who he brings in as his defensive coordinator. I'm sure he'll continue to call plays. That seems like something he would be interested in doing. But it's the Bills. They have Josh Allen. They're no matter what, they're not going to fall too far, no matter who the coach is. But this one just like kind of falls in the middle for me. Number 6, the New York Giants, and they hired John Harbaugh. This is completely fine for the Giants. I believe this hire of John Harbaugh will enable them to be competitive. They will not be at the bottom of this division for long. They have talented players. I think John Harbaugh will set a culture. He'll be good for working with Jackson Dart. Whatever he can get out of Cam Scatterboo, if he can channel his energy in the right direction, that'll be a good thing. We will see how it goes when Malik Neighbors comes back, whenever he's healthy. Harbaugh is a good coach. He's an excellent coach. In fact, And this was not a case of he was so bad that he got fired. He had just been around for so long that it is time to get somebody new in the building. And that's what they did in Baltimore. So he was the number one candidate on the market. Everybody wanted Harbaugh in their building, and the Giants were able to get him. I think this will be good for them, but I have it ranked 6 just because I don't think they're going to set the world on fire. This is going to be good for them to set their baseline, set their culture, and elevate themselves from the bottom third of the league into maybe the middle or like the bottom of the top third. So I don't think they'll be making any contender noise anytime soon, but I can see them, right in the middle, contention for wild card spots, and just generally being competent. So good for them. Number 7, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I know if you're a Steelers fan, you wanted you wanted a younger guy. You maybe wanted a more innovative guy, but you get Mike McCarthy, formerly the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and it feels just like more of the same. Feels like more of the same that you were getting from Mike Tomlin, just the offensive version. Mike McCarthy is a good coach. He's a good coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. But so is Mike Tomlin. It doesn't feel innovative. It doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't feel new. It doesn't really infuse a lot of optimism and hope into a fan base when you hire a coach that's either close to or over 60 years old. It's not a very fun thing to do. He is competent. He will get offensive production. I do know, but will it be enough to make a real difference in the AFC? That remains to be seen. So I have this number 7, not really inspired choice. Number 8, another not really inspired choice. The Cleveland Browns hired Todd Monken, offensive coordinator from the Baltimore Ravens. I've gone on at length about how I feel about Todd Monken. He is a very good offensive mind, good coach, good play caller, has had success, but he's 60 years old, first time NFL head coach, and just not a guy. When you look at the other people who were candidates for this job, not the most exciting, not the most innovative, definitely not the youngest guy that they could have hired, but in a vacuum, a fine hire. But if they were going to go older guy, offensive mind, then they might as well have kept Kevin Stefanski, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, if you want more detailed thoughts about Todd Monken, you can find it on the channel. It's all over the channel the last week or two. I've been talking about Todd Monken a lot, so you can get my thoughts there. Number 9, the Arizona Cardinals. They hired Mike LaFleur, the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, and sure. We'll see. I really don't have too much on these last two guys. Like we'll see He's been an offensive coordinator. He's had success because he's been with the Rams under McVay. And, that Sean McVay coaching tree has produced like 7 or 8 or 9 head coaches. Like that tree has produced a bunch of head coaches and will continue to do so, because Chris Shula will be a head coach in this league. Nate Shieldhouse will be a head coach in this league. It's like, so shout out to Sean McVay, who just got an extension earlier today. But Mike LaFleur will, this isn't even really about Mike LaFleur per se. It's the Cardinals. What are they going to do with Kyler? They get rid of Kyler. What are they going to do at quarterback? What are they going to do about, the rest of this team? This Cardinals team needs everything, basically. You have 2 wide receivers. Can you get Marvin Harrison to that generational prospect that we thought he was going to be? Can you continue to get out of Michael Wilson what you saw during this season? Can we get that moving forward, or was that just a moment in time that fantasy football guys will not forget? Or is that what we continue to get from him moving forward? You have Trey McBride. You really don't need to worry about the pass catchers. You just need to worry about everything else. Is James Conner coming back? If he does come back, what is he going to look like? What's the depth look like behind him? Because every running back in that room got hurt at some point. Again, what's the quarterback situation? On defense, can Walter Nolan stay healthy? Buda Baker is amazing, but what else do you have there? There's just a lot of question marks for the Arizona Cardinals. And then last and also least, number 10, the Miami Dolphins. They could have just kept Mike McDaniel. I was saying earlier, Mike McDaniel could have gotten fired, and it would have he lost institutional control. But given the fact that they ended up hiring Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, I don't think anybody was excited about this hire. Jeff Hafley was at one point the head coach at Boston College, and they were bad, which it's Boston College. Since Matt Ryan left, I haven't known them to do anything in football. So, it is what it is there. But he kind of left Boston College if I'm not mistaken, he left them a good bit into the springtime. I think maybe spring ball was over, and then he decided to head over to the NFL or something. The timeline was not a great look for leaving a college football team. But anyway, he left them, went to the Green Bay Packers, was the DC. Their defense, to his credit, was excellent. It was very good even before they got Micah Parsons, and and the defense was very good. But injuries and a little bit of attrition towards the end of the year, they weren't able to keep that going. I think he's a good defensive coach. Will he be a good head coach? We have no idea. But him leading the Dolphins, Dolphins have to figure out what they're doing with Tua. Are they trading him? Is somebody going to trade for him? Are they going to cut him? They're probably cutting Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek Hill even going to play football again? There's just like the Cardinals, there's so many questions with the Dolphins. You got to build a room around Jalen Waddle. Devon Achane is a stud, but what else do you have? You have Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon, I think that mixture of speed and power, size and strength, and agility with Achane, I think you're good there, but you got to figure out again that quarterback room. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's a huge question. I have no idea what they're getting into and what they're going to be able to do this offseason. And not even just the Dolphins, there's so many openings. There's so many teams that have quarterback questions / issues, and there's not a lot of available players to go around. That'll actually be a good video at some point in the off season before we get to free agency and the draft. Who all needs a quarterback, and what quarterbacks are available. Like the Raiders need one, and Mendoza is going one. So that one's wrapped up. Who drafts Ty Simpson? And feels like nobody else after that is worth even speaking about. And then the guys in the NFL, you got Malik Willis, you got Kyler Murray, and who else is out? Kirk Cousins might be available. Who else is out there? There's more than 3 teams that need somebody to take snaps at quarterback week 1. Is Anthony Richardson available? Do you want to take that leap? Do you want to spend draft capital to go get Mac Jones? There's just so many questions, and as I talk about it now, I think that will be a good video to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that one down, but we'll talk about that later. But this was, my discussing head coaches. Hadn't really talked about head coaches at large in the NFL all season. Wanted to wait until they all got filled, and finally, as February came, they all did. So that was that. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being here. We'll appreciate you even more if you hit the subscribe button to this YouTube page. It will be, great. It's going to help the channel grow, going to help the channel get into the algorithm, let other people see it, let other people enjoy the content. Again, I will say, please, please, please go watch the video, the conversation that I had with Terrell Chestnut, one of my best friends. It was, something I look forward to doing again. And just go check it out, and go check it out, and go send it to a friend. Send it to anybody that's a football fan, NFL, college football. If they happen to support West Virginia University, they'll know who Terrell Chestnut was. So yeah, so that's all I got for today. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you watching. And until the next one, I'll see you.